there's a two kind of perspective from my work. So that's why I joined. Like it's about like connecting with new people and learning and
Mm-hmm.
exploring.
Yep, got it, got it. And I think we'd love to have, folks like you who are like actually looking out for learning and growing. And we do have a lot of expert panel over here, and we do have people from like 16 years of experience into different industries, different domains. So you can connect with them. So okay, I'll give you a quick glimpse of what is that we are doing it today. So this is called Community Meet. So we organize one meet every week as a ritual in a community, and we talk about different tech topics. Let's say we talked about interview preparations last time, and we also talked about the worst interview experiences, and then we talked about resume reviews. Your so every week we take up a topic and then we discuss it. But what makes it more interesting is the people that joined me. So some are freshers, some are working, and some are like really excelled in their working. So collecting different perspective from different people is what makes it a little more interesting. So that's the whole idea. And no matter how small of an experience you think you have, it's completely we are very we actually appreciate you coming forward and sharing it. You don't have to be like, okay, I don't have enough experience to talk about it. It's completely fine. So you can just be as candid as possible, and you can also interact with other people over here if you have any questions around in the middle of their pointers or anything as such. So that's pretty much, and thank you so much for joining.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you so much for having me.
Yep. And we'll go with Dinesh. And uh, guys, can you please turn on your cameras? Yeah, Dinesh and Madhan.
Am I visible and audible? I'm not
You're
sure.
not visible, Dinesh. Yeah. Yeah, Madhan, can you turn on your camera? Yeah, now you're visible. Yeah. I think Dinesh joined us before too, and Madan is also coming for the second time, I guess. Dinesh, can you give a quick intro of yourself so that people who are, watching you for the first time, they would probably know you?
Yeah, so my total experience in IT is 3 years. I started working since November 2019, and recently I got laid off, and I'm waiting for the joining in the other company. And right now I'm learning basically React.js, then definitely I will jump into the Mon stack. So React is my technology right now, working with JavaScript and React.js basically.
Great, nice to meet you, Dinesh here.
Me too. Are you working in React?
Yeah, right.
Oh, correct. So I'm done.
So I guess you are on mute.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. So Madan, can you switch on your camera? Yes. Yeah. Hi, Madan. Thank you for coming
Hi,
again. I think we kind of missed two to three catch-ups in between. But yeah,
I've
can you
seen,
give us,
yeah, two
did you
catch
join?
Hello.
Yeah. Did you join us before?
Yeah, I've joined multiple times, and you always
Oh,
forget that.
okay.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I think last time you did join, but I didn't see you into
Yeah,
the
yeah,
last two catch-ups. Yeah.
yeah. I was.
Yeah. So, Madan, can you just give us a quick introduction? Because I think Kirti and Dinesh are actually watching for the first time. So, your voice is not audible. Your voice is not audible. Can you guys hear him?
No.
Right. Madan, we cannot hear you. Okay. Okay, fine. I think let him set with his microphone. So I think we can start with the topic, guys. And today's topic is about how we are how to get productive as a developer, right? And day in and day out, we have a lot of issues that we are facing and challenges we are facing. And as a developer, you come across a lot of bugs, and you face a lot of challenges that might hamper your productivity. And I'm not telling you that you need to be productive 9 to 10 hours a day, which is not humanly possible. But as a developer, how could you ensure the maximum productivity of out of all the time that you've been working? And I think we can start with Tejas. And Tejas, can you give us a quick intro of yourself so that people over here and who are watching us for the first time, they kind of know what you do and where you basically are from and everything?
Yeah, sure. So, hey, my name is Tejas and I work as an IT consultant. I started my career working with a couple of MNCs in IT consulting. Then I slowly moved on to, doing consulting on my own. So, yeah. So that was that. And then with Recro Rebase, I've been associated for, I think, last 4 to 5 months. It's been fun. I use the community chats as kind of my stress buster and try to share some experience. Yeah, that's mainly about it. And then on today's topic, I was discussing with another fellow from the recovery base about what kind of stuff he's doing, how much he's working, is he stressed, does he find himself being productive, uh, or what part of the day he feels being productive. So that kind of uh, brought up this topic of being productive and how one can be more productive or less productive, whatever it is. So I brought it up, and thanks for picking that topic, Hafsa. Uh, in my view, I'm most productive when I'm alone. Uh, I'm less productive when I'm being surrounded by people because we all work in tech. Yeah. So what we need to do is flush out some quality code and get the thing working. So I find whenever I'm at peace, I'm being more productive. A couple of years back, I was trying a new thing, which is like working in sprints. So working in sprints, I mean, when I start any piece of work, I sprint it for 40 minutes. So without looking at my mobile or any other YouTube videos or doing any kind of things apart from work, I just concentrate on work for 40 minutes. So after 40 minutes, I make sure that I take a break, at least for let's say 15 minutes. I'll go to the kitchen, grab a coffee, or just talk to my wife, or if kids are around, I'll talk to my kids, come back to work. So that has kind of allowed me to concentrate more, because I know that I just have to concentrate for 40 minutes, not more than that. So that kind of keeps me productive. And then I chill out for 15 minutes. So I kind of bust any kind of stress which has built in my mind while I was working. Yeah. So what I tried also is to increase that 40 minutes to let's say 50 or 1 hour. But after doing the experiments, what I felt is it's not really working out for me. So my max productivity was lasting only till 40 minutes, and then after that, even if I continue working, it kind of fell off. And then I felt cravings for looking at my mobile, or just watching some video on YouTube, or surfing the internet, or checking my Gmail. So then I again reduced it back to 40 minutes. That's kind of suitable timing for me. But yeah, everyone has to find their own comfortable timing. Once you find that, try to experiment. What kind of productivity you're able to achieve in those 40 or 50 minutes that you have decided for yourself, and that will definitely help you guys in order to do more in less time. Yeah, that's all we do, right? We try to achieve more in less time. if you have been given some task by your manager or your colleague or team lead to do something, and if you are able to finish it off in, let's say, 2 hours instead of 5 hours, then that's more productivity for you, and everyone tries to achieve that. So I guess the productivity increase is one of the important things that everyone should look at, which will also give you a good work-life balance.
Oh, yeah. So Tejas, out of all your experience, right, you have been a fresher, and then now Tejas holds 16 plus years of experience, and he also has a consulting company of his own. And so what, according to you, was a major challenge when it comes to productivity in terms of work, Tejas? So any projects or any practice as a developer that kind of hampered your productivity on a day-to-day scale, or what's something that you have noticed, and what's something that you have seen your employers facing on day to day, and how, what would you advise for them to overcome something like that?
So main problem with the productivity not being in a good shape is distractions. So distractions could be at multiple levels. So I don't want to sound boring, but we kill our own productivity by looking at phone, or browsing through internet, or checking Gmail or whatever. So I think that is the number one productivity killer. Number two is meetings. So as developers, we want to develop the code. Yeah, that is that is what we like to do, and that
Yeah.
is our passion. And I think that's the main reason we are into this development world. If that is not the main reason, probably you will drop out after a few years.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we want to code, and the meetings, they kill your time. They take you out of coding and then put you into some bullshit of talking to other people who might be
Yeah.
non-technical, or just dragging you in meetings because they want to discuss something which could be very trivial for you. So yeah,
Yeah.
two things. One is distraction, and another thing is meetings. So if you are able to keep these two to a minimum. So for example, in the meetings, I usually, after 10 minutes in the meeting, I literally ask, like, do you really need me in this meeting, or can I drop off because I have other
Yeah.
shit to do? Yeah. So start asking those questions. It might sound rude to the other guys, but you can always be polite. You can explain yourself that, hey, sorry, I've got ample of work to do. So in the interest of my work and productivity of our team, can I drop out? Something like that. And everybody will appreciate if you do something like that.
Yep. Yep.
And also, once you get meeting invites, if it is possible to avoid those meetings at the invite level, like you can decline them, or you can reply to the organizer that, hey, I'm busy in this time slot, please
Yeah.
don't say that. But yeah, I'm busy, I would not be able to attend, and then you can go past that meeting.
Yeah.
Or what I do is I block my own calendar. So
Hmm.
I feel more productivity during first half of the day, like from 9 to 12. So I block some time out of that in my calendar on my own. Just put it as dev activity. So that means the other people, when they try to book meetings, they'll get an overlap and they'll not be able to book those meetings. So these are the few things that I do to avoid getting into unnecessary meetings, and then
Yep.
take
Yep.
the time to myself to be productive.
Yep. Yep. Tejas, can you speak a little louder? I think other people are not able to hear you. Maybe it's the distance from your microphone, I guess. It is audible, but not as loud. Yeah.
You can't really speak much loudly. Kids are sleeping, and recently, like last week, my parents have traveled from Mumbai and they have joined me here. So they are
Okay.
also sleeping. So I don't want to be loud.
Okay. Yeah, got it. So Tejas is in Sydney, I guess, right now, right? And it's mid of 12 o'clock or something over there. So yeah, I think we kind of got all the points, and I think it's really important. And it's a universal problem, for at least after COVID era, where the meetings are prolongated so much, where work kind of get hampers now and then, and it's really important for you to stick to your point. And if you do not see that you're adding any value to the meeting of any organization that you're working for, right, just be polite enough to say, okay, if you're not having anything to contribute or have a take on it, I think you could actually save your time and just be polite about it, and then I think you can drop off, and that would actually be a major time saver in a world of corporate, right? So yeah. Thank you so much, Tejas. And let us know if anyone have any questions for Tejas, and he would be more, we'll make it more interactive, guys. And the one who actually joined us, Kiran, Tanvi, Rajendra, please turn on your cameras so that it would be more interactive. Saurabh, Madan, Sridhar. Yeah. And yeah. Hi, Vinay. Can you hear us?
Yes, hi.
Yeah. So Vinay, we were just talking about how productivity and how you could be productive as a developer day in and day out, right? What are major challenges that you face as a developer? And since you started, and you might have some different challenges that you were facing in the beginning of your career, and now it might be different, right? What are the differences that you find, and is it the same since the beginning or the commencement of your journey as a developer, or what has changed and what have you learned, and what are you actually seeing people going through a challenge, and what would you advise someone around that? Yeah.
Yeah. So when I started my career before COVID, my productivity used to be better than what it is during work from home. So work from home is slightly a productivity killer, but it depends individually to each person's case. So in my case, I usually have my productivity interrupted by either sitting with family or browsing social media or having a disturbed sleep cycle. So these are three main challenges, and I usually try to work on these, like maybe sitting alone in a separate room and throwing my mobile away to just avoid myself from getting into social media and unnecessary browsing. Another productivity killer is like browsing through LinkedIn, checking out what's happening in the world, how things are going. So these are some things which usually, take a lot of toll while affecting productivity. Thankfully, I am not interrupted by much by with the meetings in this company, but earlier, whenever I used to be, so like how they just suggested, I usually used to walk out by politely saying if there is no requirement of mine, I would like to drop off. So that's one practice I used to do, to saving my time from indulging into long discussions unless unless explicitly required. So these are some of the things I do. And also for social media, like what I usually do is like I just delete the application from my mobile. However, I use it on the mobile browser. It has a lot of features cut, so I don't even feel like that I'm addicted. So I also get to use it, but with some limited features, so it keeps a balance. So the best thing if someone is addicted from social media is this thing. Just try this out. For example, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, every of these have a browser version, and they help me a lot. I use them, but on a very limited extent. So I am also touching with the world, but I don't get too much deep into that. And
Yeah.
sleep schedule is very important. If you guys are sleeping late and waking up late, it's going to mess up your entire productivity, and that's what sort of I'm going through as well right now, all thanks to this work from home. So I think this needs to be properly taken care of. It reduces your productivity, mentally and physically as well. So this is really something which would be helpful, although some people not notice it much, but when there is a prolonged disturbed sleep, this can really affect a lot of your working lifestyle. So these are
Yeah.
some things which affect a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And coming to the productivity as a developer, right? Do you think fixing the bugs or anything that you could actually point out, which actually takes a lot of time, and do you have any hacks for that, which would help people to save a little time, or any projects that you worked on, which where you had a major challenge focusing on, and how do you actually overcome it? How do you actually deal with it? Something like that.
I don't think fixing bug is a productivity killer because fixing bug is part of your job. So I don't see any reason like how it is a productivity killer. But a productivity killer in this case would be if you're just going too much into depth that you have to optimize everything, write a good code, write really clean code, or when you're reviewing the code of your peer engineers, if you're going into too much depth, doing nitpicking and going through each and every line, each and every sentence, each and every word, how the code has been written, that also
Mhm.
used to kill my productivity a lot. So I have refrained now, like I'm improving myself to not go too much into depth while while reviewing the code of other people. So that is also
Mhm.
really counterproductive. Sometimes people usually spend 30-40 minutes in reviewing the entire code, which is not good sometimes, and it doesn't turn out to be productive for you as well as the person who has done the coding. So this is one thing. In terms of fixing bugs, you see, we cannot term it as a productivity killers, but if a bug is really annoying and it's blocking your other features, the best thing which I have received suggestion is that if you're not able to solve something, like give it a time, maybe just pick it up after a couple of hours or after a couple of days, and by the time you pick it up again, you might have new ideas to solve the problem, and this usually has worked for me. So this helps you work and focus on the other important task, and the bug does not end up eating up your entire time.
Yeah. Yeah. And coming to the point where you told Vinay that you usually review other people's codes, like in terms of like as a team lead or something, can you just like get a little clarity over that? So
So
you review others' codes, right?
So usually in software engineering, every person has to review each other's code. It's not like only a manager or a team lead does. Even an intern can review my code and I can review my intern's code. So in software development, we just don't write code directly and push it to production and develop a software out of it. Before it gets to production and customers see it, we need to have a review process. So if we have a team of 5 people, a person can raise a request in the team that, hey, this is my code, I've done it, and please review it. So we find mistakes, we suggest some ideas how it can be improved and those sort of things. So this sometimes does result in productivity, counterproductivity, because let's say there are 5 people in the team, so all the 4 people or 5 people go down to the code and start reviewing it. Some of the comments in the code are redundant, everyone has the same thoughts, or there is a conflict in between. Sometimes two coders have a conflict that this can be done in this way or this can be done in that way. So this is a very big productivity killer, and it should be like avoided at all costs. I've read a lot of articles, like sometimes development gets blocked because there's a lot of huge conflicts between 2 or 3 engineers on how things can be done. So
Yeah.
that should be avoided at all cost.
So what are the major loopholes here for what are the major challenges that you've seen that other people are missing during their course, or something that you actually found that this is something that's actually repeating, or maybe a major challenge that everyone are facing while you're reviewing other people's code? So what would that be?
So
Something
usually
that everyone is missing out and struggling.
the main idea of a code review is to ensure that the code is efficient. It's not eating up a lot of your customers' RAM, memory. It's absolutely efficient. It's working the best way possible. The code is fast and it's written using the correct language syntax. So sometimes people used old language syntax, which was introduced a couple of years ago, or it's no more valid, it's deprecated in the
Mhm.
industry, it's not a good practice. So usually identifying some bugs, some issues, security threats, performance issues, and incorrect coding styles, incorrect design patterns. So these are some of the things which usually we need to point out. If a person has written the code in a wrong way, the naming convention is incorrect in the code, or I'm not even able to understand what this code is doing, add some comments in it. So these are some things which we need to take care of.
Yep, yep. So do you have any tips or takeaways, Vinay, from the point where you mentioned efficiency gets hampered, right? So do you have any major advice or takeaways on the efficiency, how you could actually write an efficient code and what it takes and what are what are a few tricks that people miss out on, which actually leads them to have an inefficient code or something they have to work it on again. So any tips on the efficiency of coding?
So the best thing to like avoid killing time on code reviews to write good code. Uh, Keep yourself up to date with the documentation of the technology you're working with. Maybe read some articles, watch some videos, and try yourself up to date with what's happening in the technology domain you're part of. Read some books. Usually, there are a lot of good books on how to write a good code. I cannot recall much, but yes, there are some authors who have written an entire book, what should be the good practices based on the programming language. It could be Java, JavaScript, C, C++, Python. So pick out some books, give them some time. It's going to help you become a good coder and write really good softwares. Uh, these these sort of things can help a person write a good code.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vinay. Well, those were really insightful points, and I think people would actually love to look into the resources in the book that you mentioned. And please make sure that if you could drop down any resources like that in the resource learning part of our channel in the Discord, it would be great, and other people who are looking out for the same would actually benefit from that. Yeah.
Yep.
And for all those people who are joining us for the first time, right? So any blog or any resource that you come across while you're daily practicing or coding or referring to as a resource learning on your part, please make sure that you actually share it in the resource learning part of the group so that people, other developers who are facing the same problem can actually refer to it. So yeah. Yes, Souvik, I think Souvik. Can you hear us? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Hi, Souvik. Can you introduce us to yourself? I think this is the first time you're joining us, right?
yeah. This is my first
Yeah.
time here. So myself, Shovik. Am I audible? Is there any echo?
No. You're audible enough.
Yeah, yeah. So I am a senior software engineer, and I am working at a company called Fairmatic, which is a US-based tech startup. And I joined there recently. Maybe I have recently completed my 2-3 months here. So overall, I have around 5 years of experience working in the software industry. And primarily, I am a backend engineer. Initially, I started my career as a full stack engineer, but for the last couple of years, I have been working on the backend side only.
Yep, Souvik. Souvik, out of all your 5 years of professional journey, so I assume that you also started working pre-COVID era, right? Where you are actually going to the offices, and now it's a post-COVID era. So, are you working remote or are you working in the office again?
Yeah, I'm working in a fully remote company.
Remote.
Yeah, fully
Yep.
remote.
So, Souvik, what's your take on productivity? Has someone who has been working in the office for a while and someone who's actually shifted to the remote culture? So, how do you define productivity, and how productive were you back in when all of us were going to offices back then? And do you really think that's going to office and sitting out with our fellow developers and discussing that brings out the productivity and the best work at the table on at the end of the day, or or remotely when you're actually sitting down by yourself in the room, and is that helping you be really productive at the end of the day? So what is your take on
I think office and when you are working from home, both of them have completely different working environments. So when you are in office, you have other people working beside you, right? So and when you are in home, you are completely on your own. So you do not know what other people are doing, right? So when you are in home, it is totally up to you how productive you are and how you control your productivity. So and I mean, you have to make sure that you are not distracted, or you are not wasting time on something that you should not be, right? So in office, it's very easy to make sure of these things, because you are in a completely in a working environment. Everyone else is working, so it's easy to be productive in office than in home. You have to put in extra effort at home to be productive, so that the distractions are not bothering you or not coming into your way. Personally, what I do is I use couple of apps, so that I do not pick up my phone and randomly start scrolling. So there are apps which will block your non-productive apps. And what I do is I have set a particular schedule that between 9 in the morning to till 7 in the afternoon, don't let me open these apps. So that is the way I control my habit of using social media and other things. And I use the same thing for my laptop as well. If you are using a Mac, there is a work mode setting where you can set up how much time you want to use on any website or any application. So the same thing you can do in your laptop as well, so that you are not distracted easily. And also, I would like to say another thing is that you will have good days and you will have bad days as well. You cannot maintain the same level of productivity for all the 5 days of week. So if you have any low days, accept it and hope that you can do better on the next day.
Yep. And coming to the part, let's say, Souvik, you're working remotely at your place, right? And then you're stuck with some problem. Now that you're at office, you actually, can discuss it with your fellow developers and, colleagues and everything. And then you can start working on it as soon as you're done with, cleared with the doubt, right? But when you're working remotely by yourself, how is a challenge that you're stuck with is going to hamper your stuff, and how do you actually deal with it, right? For example, if you're stuck with some problem and you don't know how to get out of it, and it's eating major time, and how do you actually deal? Do you actually go to your manager, or do you actually connect with your colleague, or do you look into the resources at that point of time? So what would that be? So do you actually face any challenges like this when you're working remotely, besides the distraction of social media? What other major things that you think would hamper your productivity?
Yeah, I mean, the best way to tackle that is to be proactive in communication. So whenever you are stuck in anything, whenever you think that you are stuck, just reach out for help instead of it yourself. Reach out for help. It can be anyone. It can be another fellow developer, or it can be a manager as well. Whoever you think that have some idea on that particular piece of code or that particular piece of product, reach out to them and ask for help. And another thing that helps is good documentation. If you have you cannot, if you have documentation in your organization, which is well maintained and up to date, look it up. If it is not up to date, you go yourself and make it updated. And so that, another thing is that if you reach out too often, then again, you not only, you are also affecting other people's productivity as well. Because as developers, we want our times to be as uninterrupted as possible. And if you are getting interrupted too often, then again, it creates problem. So to tackle that, there are solutions for that. What you can do is you put your questions in Slack. Whenever you are stuck in something, or whenever you have any doubts, put your questions in Slack. And anyone who is free, make the questions open-ended, not directed to any particular developer, so that anyone who is free and have some idea on it can jump in and help you out on it.
Yep. I think that would be a major takedown, because I think communication is really important now that most of us are working remotely, and even if we are working from the office, where if you're not having a clear and communication of what are we going through, what are we stuck with, I think that would majorly hamper going forward. It's going to definitely hamper your work has. So yeah, I think that's a good point. Thank you so much, Souvik. And if you have to give you one to key takeaways, what would that be? Like the major, if someone is starting out with their coding journey, or someone who's actually working right now, so one or two key takeaways that you would advise them to look out for, so that the major time of what we are working on is not wasted.
I would say that plan your day ahead,
Mhm.
what you are going to work on the next day. And at the starting of the day, plan what are the things that you are going to work on and try to stick to a schedule. And whenever you are getting diverted from that schedule, I mean, uh, just adjust your calendar in a way that you are sticking to you are completing what you started at the beginning of the day.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
And a target helps. That's what I
Yeah.
would say. If you have a set target that I would complete this much of work by today, that helps a lot. Instead of without any target, you are keep on working, and maybe you will get distracted or you will start procrastinating on your work.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Souvik. And that was a great point. And if anyone is having any doubt or counter opinion on it, please feel free to just share it with us. And thank you so much. We would love to hear more about your perceptions and advices in our upcoming meetups. And yeah,
Yeah.
hi Kirti.
Hi.
Yeah, Kirti. So what's something that you have been struggling on as a developer for productivity? So do you have any major stuff that you're struggling with besides, let's say, distraction of mindless scrolling is something that we all can relate to, and we know how we could actually control it, right? But besides that, as a developer on a working day in and day out as a developer, what's some major stuff that you face that actually hampers your productivity?
Yeah, like as Vanessa said that like the bad like sleep cycle really,
Yeah, Kirti, your voice is way too low. Can you speak a little louder?
hello, hello.
Yeah, this is yeah.
Yeah, so I was as we just said about like the bad sleep cycle. Actually, that's the worst part. Like until now, that's the this thing that can happen to you. Like if I don't sleep well, then I'm not able to debug the code or work on it. The other thing is like family. Like currently I'm working remotely, and I have some stuff to do at home, so I have to manage both the things. Like yeah, I need to give the time to the family as well, and work productively. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so the sleep cycle, and I think the thing that helped me in this, like when I started working, just after 15 days, there was like the lockdown happens, and we started working remotely. So the workout sessions, these things help me a lot. Like physical exercise helps you in that case, because we as a developer we need to have very much screen timings, and these makes you a little bit fizzy and not much active. So whenever like I also take that 40 minutes rule in my schedule, that yeah, I take breaks time to time, power nap, and do other stuff like talk to a child, foolish things, and then back to work. So that's the thing that I do, and the distractions are like as I already told you, that the sleep and the family. Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep. So, Kirti, if you're stuck with any issue, or if you're stuck with any bug or any code that you've been, coding for a while, right? So, how do you usually solve it? So, do you ask your colleagues, or do you go to any resource or a blog that actually helps you? And what are the major? Actually, did you notice any pattern as such where most of your time is getting eaten while you're working? Let's say discussing a problem, or maybe the meetings, or anything as such. So, anything as such from your end, where you're actually facing a lot of time is actually going in that you're working in.
Yeah, like fixing the bugs, like when we start working on some features, we mostly come up like face some of the bugs, and then I personally, like I give time like like at least 15 to 20 minutes to myself, that if I can solve it or not, like try to figure out what is the problem. Like going to the Google and use documentation of the technologies. Like if I
Mhm.
use React or Node, then I read the documentation. And
Hmm.
then if not, like Stack Overflow is a really good source for that as well. And if like even like 15 to 20 minutes I'm not able to solve it, I actually go for like we even in the office we have team groups where you can put up your doubts and
Mhm.
whatever issues we are facing on our tasks, like daily tasks. So
Mhm.
yeah, then I go for the colleagues help and ask them.
Yep. Yep. I think that's really important where you're actually communicating where you're stuck. And documentation is something even I heard from two, three people where I think we did have the same discussion last or the before last month in the same community meet. And we also discussed how important documentation is and how actually it helps you to have a track on what you're working on and, something that you actually faced and you can actually refer back anytime you are stuck with some problem and also pass it on forward for someone who's having the same problem, right? So yeah, that would be a great idea. Yeah. Thank you so much, Kirti. And Madhan, can you hear us?
Yeah, yeah. Good evening.
Yeah. Madan, I believe you also have a YouTube channel and you're also a creator on the other hand, right?
No, no.
Okay, so that was another Madan. Okay, there are a lot of, that's the reason I was asking if you're the same Madan. Okay. So
No.
Madan, now that you've been working, how long have you been working again?
3+ years.
Okay, yeah. So the one you're working, the company that you're working right now is remote or you're going to office?
It's hybrid.
It's hybrid. Okay.
Yeah.
So Madan, what's your major take on this hybrid feature as a developer and its productivity? So on the days where you're going to office, do you really think that you're the most productive in getting the work out at the end of the day, or is it when you're comfortable back home and sitting and working in your own space where you don't have to like a lot of interaction and when you're cut down with all the interactions? So is it there where you find the most productivity? So what's your take on the whole stuff?
Actually, I'm usually more productive in office. When I'm at home, working from home. Like I'm easily distracted
Mhm.
because of mobile or social media.
Mhm.
So at home, to improve my productiveness, in the first time I'm usually productive, and
Mhm.
so in the second half is where I get distracted easily. So at that
Yeah.
time, I listen to music, which
Yeah.
enhances my mood and helps me be being productive.
Yeah.
And also hitting the gym every day helps me to be
Mm.
active throughout the day,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
also helps me being productive.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And as a developer, to improve your efficiency, I would suggest like if you're using some tool like Visual Studio Code or Postman, or you should go and check out the shortcut keys which can like to perform some action or task. So which
Mhm.
would like help you to improve your efficiency.
Yeah. Okay,
Uh,
so do you have any
Okay.
major sources or apps that actually you use on a daily basis to ensure that you're productive? So can you name any two, three resources that you could recommend for people who are listening to us, or someone who's maybe starting out with their developer journey or something?
There's no like any such app, but like I'm saying that you should know the shortcut keys in the app so
Mhm.
that you don't have to waste your time just using your mouse and opening or
Yeah,
doing that task. You can
yeah,
directly use the shortcut key.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I
yeah,
was trying.
yeah, yeah, got it. Uh, so, Madan, coming to the point of, let's say, you said that you are um, you have the most focus in the first half of the day, right? But let's say
Yeah.
if you're having a deadline and you actually have to work 2 3 days in prior to meet the deadline or something. So how could one ensure that they could actually be productive more than the first half of the day? So any major stuff. So do you think the major work should be handled in the very first half of the day, or should that be procrastinated for the second half or third half if you're working late? or something like that. So how could one manage the work and in the days when they're hectic? How can one person manage, let's say, if someone is like you, someone is actually most productive on the first half of the day, how can one manage?
Like when I have a shorter deadline, I'm usually more productive throughout the day because my manager won't leave me if I don't complete it. So while having a shorter time deadline, I'm focused and more productive. But like to concentrate more and improve productivity, I just listen to music.
Yeah, yeah.
And if I'm stuck with something, then I take a shorter break and then get back to it again.
Yeah, yep, yep, yep. Yeah. So, do you have any three key takeaways that you could, uh, advise to anyone who's having a challenge with the productivity as such, or someone, if you have to advise your younger self or someone who's, starting off their professional career, what would be two key takeaways from your part on the productivity?
Mm, get a good sleep.
Get a good, sorry,
Good sleep. Nice.
good sleep. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
got it. Okay.
And doing some exercise every
Okay.
day.
Yeah, I think that really helps you to just like stay proactive. And when you're proactive, obviously you're more inclined to get the work done. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madan. And that's really important because now that most of us all are at home and we are really deprived on the physical activity, and also that really hampers our sleep schedule, let's say, and that also hampers our focus and the whole working part of it. And I think one has to ensure that we also get a good physical exercise so that we are actually focused enough. So yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Do you have any more questions, or I think we are good to wrap up the session for today? Do you guys have any more questions? Tejas, Vinay, Mother, Kirti?
No,
No.
not on the side.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. So Kirti and Madan, you can, if you want to connect or want to ask anything with Tejas and Vinay, right? Feel free to like ping them on Discord. So if you actually see, we have various channels. We have resume reviews, coding practices, interview tips. So there are a lot of it to mention. So just go around it and see if you are facing any problem, if you're stuck with anything, feel free to ask anyone out there, and people would be more than happy to help you guys. So you can reach out to Tejas, Madan itself, or Vinay for any stuff, right? And they are also helping out the people if they're stuck with any issues and all, because at the end of the day, community is all about helping each other and connecting with each other. So that's the whole idea. And we're going to have the same meetup next week. So do not miss on the next week. And we'd love to have you in the next meetup. And if you have any suggestions or some topic that you want to talk about, feel free to ping that to me, or feel free to reach out to me and say, okay, this is something that I would like to talk about with other fellow developers. And we'd be more than happy to have that topic of discussion for that particular week. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. And, thank you so much for joining us again. And have a great weekend. And we'd love to see you in the next catch up. So thank you.
Cool.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Bye,
Thank you,
Tejas.
guys.
Thank you,
Tejas.
Vinay.
Bye, guys.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
Vinay. Bye, Mithal.
Happy
Bye,
weekend.
Kate. Happy weekend.